This Shedeur Sanders saga, this drama, this training camp that everybody's been paying attention to, it's just been crazy to me. It's been crazy to everybody, all football fans that, know the game, know how these things go. We might not have, some of us might not have that insider or that former player experience because they know a little bit more. But if you've been watching football, if you've been a football fan and you've been watching training camps and OTAs and how these things go, quarterback battles and all of these things. If your team has once been that team that didn't have a quarterback but drafted a quarterback early or late within the draft, what I'm saying, there's a quarterback battle within training camp and all these things, right? So we all know what happened to Shedeur Sanders, him being a prospect, being a first round prospect, being drafted in the fifth round, and it kind of looked like it was a humiliation ritual, borderline, lynching of some sorts in a football aspect, like how owners just came together and said we're not going to draft him. I think they was intending for him to be an undrafted free agent, but you know what I'm saying. It just so happens that the Browns decided to draft him. Now, I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this situation, and it's just like I think they're tending to forget that we are dealing with the Cleveland Browns, bro. This is not a different team. This is not any other team that has some sort of history of winning. First of all, this is the same organization that gave Deshaun Watson 230 fully guaranteed dollars. Going through what he was going through in the media and all of that, which I'm glad he got his money, but for context, we got to know we got to let the people know what was going on for the people that don't know, because this story is just getting bigger and bigger. Now, in training camp, when there's a quarterback battle, they went into training camp with 4 quarterbacks, which makes this situation so different from everybody else or every other situation. Is there wasn't a solidified starter. There wasn't a solidified baller, a solidified quarterback on that roster to where as though somebody shouldn't really get a fair chance. When there's somebody on the roster like that, then okay, somebody's really not going to get their fair shot, which is understandable. This isn't New England when they had Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady. Even though Tom Brady was a 7th round pick, that's why I'm saying that. This isn't the Seattle Seahawks when they drafted Russell Wilson and they had Matt Flynn. People tend to forget that the Seattle Seahawks gave Matt Flynn a lot of money to be their starter because of what he did when Brett Favre got hurt when he was with the Packers. In training camp, a 3rd-round pick beat out a guy that they went into free agency for and paid a boatload of money to. You feel what I'm saying? So don't sit up here and act like a 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, a 5th-round pick, can't win a job. You feel what I'm saying? This is not the Dallas Cowboys with Tony Romo, Bill Parcells. He goes and gets his guy, which I mentioned when they was in New England. You feel what I'm saying? And basically, he had to. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Drew Bledsoe played very, very bad. He had to play very, very bad, and it was late into the season until Tony Romo got his shot. All different situations, right? All situations. Like, so to me, and why I say it's a different situation is because the starting quarterback or the quarterback that they wanted to start was capable. They just played bad. Some didn't even play bad at all. Russell Wilson just beat him out in camp. Russell Wilson started his rookie year. He beat him out in camp. That was the story of that season, coming from Seattle Seahawks training camp, that Russell Wilson, a 3rd-round pick, you know what I'm saying, from Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. It's either Wisconsin or North or North. No, I think it is Wisconsin. Beat out the guy they paid all this money to in free agency, which was Matt Flynn at the time. Going back to the Browns situation. You don't have a quarterback. Nobody looked at Joe Flacco as a long-term solution or the quarterback of this season. Just because we seen what he did last year from the beginning of the season in Indy. Yes, he did come in there 2 years ago off the couch and win y'all some games to get y'all to the playoffs. But he is an older quarterback that he's on the very, very tail end of his career. So yes, he's going to look better than some of the rookies and whatever the case may be because he's played more football. But is he more talented than them? Does he have a future in the NFL? No. Then you have Kenny Pickett, who was a failed project of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can go back and look at his record with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only reason why he got that Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Browns signed him is because of the game that he had in Philly when Jalen Hurts got hurt or when they didn't want to play the starters or something like that, and he won that game. He off one game, bro. One game. And the reason why I'm breaking this thing down like this is because y'all need to I'm getting to my point. I'm going to take my time, but I'm going to get to my point. And then we're going to react to, you know what I'm saying, what others have got to say. Then you go down to Dylan Gabriel, undersized, which is not, it's to be undersized, you have to be you have to play bigger than your height. You have to be immensely talented as a Russell Wilson or Drew Brees. Drew Brees was very, very accurate. You know what I'm saying? He had trouble looking over the line, but he found his ways through the line. You know what I'm saying? Drew Brees and Russell Wilson are one of the very ones, and Kyler Murray, because he can run and do other things, are some of the very special talents that was undersized at quarterback and made it work in the NFL. Do we think Dylan Gabriel can do that? It's yet to be seen, but what we are seeing in training camp, it doesn't look that way. Now, getting to Shedeur Sanders. If you're looking at that from a talent perspective, I'm the most talented quarterback here. I'm the most accurate quarterback here. You feel what I'm saying? I was really projected to be a first round pick, whether it would have been early or middle. You dig what I'm saying? So the point I'm getting to is the Browns are like the girl you like, but she doesn't like you back. And she's telling you in every way she doesn't like you back. But you so oblivious to what she's telling you because you're so infatuated with her. Now, let me tell you what I mean. The Browns really didn't want Shedeur Sanders, which was said in an interview by Jimmy Haslam. If you told me we was going to draft Shedeur Sanders, I would have said no. But that decision wasn't up to me. It was up to yada, 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 whoever the GM was. That's what he said. Shedeur just wants to play football in the league. That's the girl, the league, the team, the Browns. I just want to play and show what I can do. Y'all already robbed me of my security of not being drafted in the first round. You think Cam Ward going through this right now? Do you even if you're not a first round pick, a solidified quarterback in the league, their training camps and how they go about it is totally different than what Shedeur Sanders is going through right now. But if he was a first round pick, he wouldn't have to be going through what he's going through. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why I say, bro, that's why I'm saying, like, The Browns, they are focused on next year. They are telling everybody what they are focused on. And all of us are like, man, Shedeur, if we're looking at this training camp and this, that, and the third, and we're looking at the stats and the quarterback stats, and he threw 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, 70% completion rate, all of these things. You can be the best for them. You could be the best for her. If she don't want you, she don't want you. The Browns don't want him. Now, with him playing well, if he play preseason, he's going to play preseason, put out good tape. Of course, the fans be going to big him up. Of course, the players going to big him up. Everybody's going to, you know what I'm saying, we told you, but you know what I'm saying, what's going on with the Browns is they are not concerned. They want either Archie, they want one of them quarterbacks that's coming out next year. They believe in their mind that is the better quarterback class. They're not going off the tape. They're going off the class. This is just a better overall prospect. You feel what I'm saying? This is just a better overall top and bottom. They want the can't miss guy. The Andrew Luck, the John Elway, they don't want the Tom Brady, the diamond in the rough. They don't want, even I felt like Shedeur Sanders was a can't miss. Like, I seen him play in college. I seen what he can do. You know what I'm saying? When he's down, when he's up. Situational football, we seen it. We all seen it. You dig what I'm saying? So it's just kind of crazy, but we about to react to them basically signing Tyler Huntley. And this is just another slap in the face. This is just another, you know what I'm saying, obstacle unnecessary obstacle. That's one thing I really, really have a problem with is unnecessary obstacles when it doesn't need to be there. Like when it's manufactured and it is not organic. Like, this is not an obstacle that just, you know what I'm saying, it organically happens within your path to wherever you're trying to get to. No, this is a obstacle that the person or the organization or the company put in front of you when there was no need to. When I've already shown you that I can play this game at a high level with the 2s, the 3s against the your number one defense. So you get another quarterback on the roster to take away from our reps. You don't, but it's just crazy, bro. It's just crazy. It's the Cleveland Browns. I ain't never talked about the Cleveland Browns this much in my life. And my grandfather is a diehard Cleveland fan. But I ain't never talked about the Browns this much a day in my life. Shout out to Browns.
To win their starting position. We already know who quarterback 1 is going to be. We know who that's going to be. The depth chart doesn't mean anything. What they're trying to do is they're trying to break young bull.
So for Shedeur, maybe the Wednesday practice becomes even bigger.
Myles Garrett says he's keeping a big secret about the Browns quarterback plan.
Yeah, this motherfucker didn't know nothing.
The Cleveland Browns officially have 6 quarterbacks on their roster.
Whole time I was forgetting about they still got Deshaun Watson on the roster, bro. Because if you add all the quarterbacks, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Tyler Huntley, and Deshaun Watson, that is 6 quarterbacks, which is ridiculous. This is how we know the Browns are browning. Y'all don't know no other way. This is why we joke with my grandfather all the time about liking y'all. It's just like, bro, ain't no way in hell. I don't need to cover my team yet. I don't need to cover the Kansas City Chiefs yet. Why? We have a capable GM, Brad Veach. We have a capable head coach, Andy Reid. We have a capable and a great quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. We have our weapons. We got our linemen in the first round. We got our defensive, we got a pass rusher in the second round. Everything else was just extras. We waiting on regular season to start. I'm going to go ahead and cover the preseason and look at some of the young talent that we got. But come on, man. With the Browns, y'all can't even get past the draft.
Now, on the official depth chart, Shedeur Sanders was already QB4, apparently, with Dylan Gabriel being QB3, Kenny Pickett being QB2, and old man January Joe being QB1. And we talked about that. What's the big deal? I think we all see that, look, it's early on in camp, and he doesn't – they haven't even given Shedeur enough reps with the ones to close the gap.
I really want Shedeur to either get traded to the Saints, because we've been hearing Tyler, whatever his name is, who nobody even knew about, playing bad and having bad training camps and stuff like that. The New York Jets with the quarterback who they just gave that money to, Justin Fields. He's been hurt. He might be out with a knee injury. It may be serious. So hopefully, you know what I'm saying, with Indianapolis as well. With their quarterback carousel quarterback competition between Daniel Jones and what's his name? His name's slipping my mind right now, but it's just crazy, bro. It is.
Quote unquote, even though he's been looking good with the reps that he has. We don't need to get into that conversation. The conversation, though, that needs to be had is the confusing, the puzzling, the absolutely interesting conversation of Tyler Huntley being signed with the Browns. Now, Tyler Huntley obviously has been with the Browns. I believe he was with the Browns last year, so he knows the offense. It makes sense to bring in a quote unquote.
Just because you've been with the year, just because you've been with a team last year doesn't mean you know the offense. That's not necessarily true. And I'm not trying to go against bro, but that's not necessarily true. You probably know the verbiage, but they know your skill set. Is the entire playbook open to him? Can we run anything in it? Can the coach call anything in this playbook? And can you get the ball where it need to go? Tyler Huntley been a traveling quarterback because he hasn't been able to solidify himself as a starter anywhere. Just keep it a bean, bro. Stop keeping the shit 100. Only reason why I think he was with Baltimore because he has the same, you know what I'm saying, not talent, but he has the same skill set as Lamar Jackson running that style of offense.
Quote, camp arm. But I got to be honest with you. I don't know what you want me to tell the CU aunties. I don't know what you want me to tell my Shedeur Sanders guys. But this does seem a little fishy. Does it not seem a little fishy? With
it does.
The weird, rip limits. Does it seem a little fishy with all the other situations that seemingly happened with Shedeur? And then now on top of that, we come into, a camp where we're going to have, shout out to Jimmy Horn, is going to be a Carolina joint practice, right? Starting Wednesday. Probably going to stream that if we have time. And then, obviously, the game on Friday. The thought is let's have another arm because Joe Flacco's not going to be there the whole time, right?
Right. And that game is going to be probably the most watched game. The Cleveland Browns going to probably have the most watched preseason games this year because we want to see what Shedeur Sanders is going to do. And I'm assuming that he's a Cleveland Browns fan, and you know what I'm saying. And everybody, even if you're not a Cleveland Browns fan, you're tuning into this because it's just like, what in the world is they doing? And why does it look like y'all sabotaging this man? Why does it look like that? The point of you drafting the two rookies in the draft, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, was for this exact moment. If you want to really see what you have, Kenny Pickett goes down with a hamstring. Joe is not going to throw. He's not going to play in probably till like the third preseason game. You have 2 games. You can really just, you get a full game, you get a full game. If you really want to see what they got, bro. Like, I don't understand, bro.
Joe Flacco's not going to be throwing the whole game or even a half. Like, that's not what you want for the first preseason game. You know what I mean? So as much as I would love to say, hey, Shedeur Sanders needs to get a full half. He needs to give him most of the game. As much as I want to say that, I don't think the Browns want that. You know what I'm saying? I think the Browns have made it very clear that they don't want Shedeur Sanders to have a full display of what he can do. Garrett says
because they know it's like the more he plays and the more he plays well, the more they're gonna want him to play, the more they want. They don't really want him to be a Cleveland Brown, bro. It is what it is, bro. I don't understand this shit, bro. They want a quarterback from this next year's class, bro. They want either Archie, they want the guy from Penn State, they want either the guy from LSU, whoever they got their eye on. It is Dylan Gabriel has probably been drafted to be a backup. This is just, you know what I'm saying? So I would hope that, you know what I'm saying, that the time that Shedeur Sanders do get, put out good tape, and hopefully, you know what I'm saying, another team that needs a quarterback will pick you up and give you a fair chance at becoming a starter, bro.
He's keeping a big secret about the Browns quarterback plan. He said, this motherfucker didn't know nothing. I can't stop the conspiracy theorists now. If I was a conspiracy theorist, it's almost as if they wanted Shedeur Sanders to look bad. Instead, he throws that seed to Luke Floria on 3rd and 17 to get him in field goal range. If I was a conspiracy theorist, that's what I would say. If I was a conspiracy theorist, I would say it's really convenient to have now 2 veteran quarterbacks that know the offense well. So, I mean, we got to keep them on the team, right? I mean, these are just 2 guys that know the offense. I'm just
No, I would say the person that knows the offense well and that Stefanski trusts to run anything out of that playbook would be Joe Flacco. And we all know Joe Flacco can spin it. He could probably still spin it. So he can put the ball wherever it need to go. But who knows the offense very, very well, I would, and you know what I'm saying, and the playbook is open. It's a difference between knowing the playbook and the playbook being open. You feel what I'm saying? I don't think that playbook is as open with Tyler Huntley than it is with Joe Flacco.
But let's see what some of the Browns media has to say about this. But before we do that, let's go right to Ocho. We're gonna get a little snippet from Ocho.
Hello, Ocho. One that has been of decency has been Bernie Kosar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's in mid.
That's in the 80s, bro. That's when what's his name was still a pup when they was losing to the Denver Broncos and back to back. You had the fumble, then you had the drive. You had the fumble, then you had the drive. That's in the 80s.
Yeah, mid who? Okay, well, there you go. There you go. That's no disrespect to any of the quarterbacks that have played there, but it is what it is. We talk about
it is disrespect, and it should be disrespect because y'all been trash. Only quarterback that I probably did like besides Baker was probably Kelly Holcomb.
Consistency. Have we had one for a decade that we've been able to lean on and build around?
No.
You got a couple of years of Baker, but outside of that, no.
No disrespect. Come on now. So how do we?
That's the problem that you have, Ocho.
How are we supposed to trust this organization when it comes to choosing quarterbacks at the position when they haven't figured it out all these years? All of a sudden, now they got all the motherfuckers. Excuse me. Now they got all the.
It will make you do that because you're not even a Browns fan. But at the same time, it's like you're a fan of Shedeur. So it's like Shedeur could have went to like, bruh. That's why Dion was like, I'm going to have a say-so in where my sons go. Because it was really about Cleveland. I don't want my son to go to I wouldn't want Shedeur to go to Cleveland. Not to the Browns. Not to the Browns. With their quarterback history? No, sir. And then they try to draft him in the 5th round. So now you on a short leash. And then we gonna react to Dak Prescott throwing all these interceptions in training camp. See, when you got your money and you solidified and you got paid and you did what you were supposed to do in the NFL, you can go in a training camp throwing 5,000 million, 100,000 trillion interceptions and nothing really matters.
Oh, Ocho.
They're supposed to have all the sense now. The depth chart to me, I'm gonna let you go. The depth chart to me doesn't mean anything. We know what Joe Flacco will do when the lights come on. Kenny Pickett had his opportunity when he was drafted to the Steelers. So we've seen the sample size of that already. I mean, no disrespect to him, he's not the answer. Dylan Gabriel had success at Oregon when the lights come on. But it's a different ball game in the NFL with them grown men that got mouths to feed. Everyone should get an ample chance to win their starting position. We already know who quarterback one is going to be. We know who that's gonna be.
It's gonna be Joe Flacco, but for how many weeks though is the question. How bad can Joe Flacco play until the fans get fed up? Because when the fans get fed up and then the players start getting fed up, you got no other choice. Then the coaches get fed up. You got no other choice but to go to somebody else. They're gonna run a Kenny Pickett though. I wouldn't be surprised if they went down the depth chart this year. If they have a losing season, if they went, Joe Flacco played 3-4 games, next. Kenny Pickett played 3-4 games, next. Dylan Gabriel got one or two games, next. Shedeur comes in, now he plays. If he plays well, if he doesn't, next. This is what we're dealing with.
The depth chart doesn't mean anything.
Who that
What
is?
they're trying to do is they're trying to break
Joe
young
Felicity?
They're trying to break him, huh? That's all it is. From the draft process to getting drafted in the 5th round to the owner coming out and saying what he said last week to now. Man, come on with that bullshit, man.
I'm gonna let Shannon go and then we'll yap.
I don't see how Kenny Pickett still remains number 2. He hadn't practiced since the 26th of July, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what
And you go look at the quarterback tracker.
I'm
So
saying.
he's been dealing with a hamstring injury. But when you go out and sign somebody in free agency, I guess that does tell you they do think highly of him because they signed him. Dylan Gabriel, he's dealing with a hamstring. I guess the worst thing that happened is that we could have found out because had both of those
Good
guys
ball.
been injured, we head into the first preseason game, and only Flacco and Shedeur is healthy. Now, it remains to be seen how much Joe Flacco is going to play. If he plays, I'm thinking maybe a series, Ocho. That's tops. Let's be generous and say a series. Now that was going to be Shedeur's opportunity to basically take us home. We saw Trey Lance. Trey Lance started the game.
But they don't want that. They don't want that. They don't want him. They don't. They might be looking at him as a bargaining chip to get a trade, to get another draft pick.
Played deep into the 4th quarter. Hell, he might have finished the game. With that being said, the worst thing that could possibly happen for the Browns is that the 2 quarterbacks that you're probably counting on, they both got hurt.
Most definitely.
And they got hurt early.
I think really good points were made, and I think Ocho he's been very adamant. We're gonna get to the actual Browns media because they do a great job. 92.3 The Fan, a lot of them immediately react to. I think they had some great takes, but I really categorize Shannon Sharp and Ocho in the ESPN era of takes where. Not in a negative way, but they talk about so many things that you don't expect them to be as locked in. But clearly, Ocho is very passionate about it, right? I think they
No, everybody is tuned into what's going on in Cleveland Browns camp. We not talking about the quarterback battle in Indy. We really not talking about the Jets for real because they had a new quarterback. We're not talking about it's another quarterback. We're not talking about New Orleans Saints because they just drafted a new quarterback. We're really not talking about what's going on in Pittsburgh with them and Aaron Rodgers. Everybody seems like they're focused and locked in on what's going on with the Cleveland Browns and this quarterback carousel. That's what people are just tuned in on. And it's like the more and more you look at it, the more and more information you get, the more and more you study what's going on. It's like they just don't want Shedeur to succeed because they just don't. I just can't explain it, bro. It's just like, bro, it's clear as day. You know what I'm saying? Who's at least the backup is. If you want to go with Joe, fine, but he's at least it's clear as day. Being injured, getting injured, is a negative in the NFL. Especially when you fighting for a job. Let's keep it a bug. You're not trying to be injured. I gotta fight for this spot on this field. All this, we got him from free agency, so that puts him automatically. No, bro. Oh, he's the 3rd round pick, so he automatically gets no. Who's better? And if you get hurt, that's your problem.
A clearly open personal relationship with not just Dion but Shedeur, and they know they've watched him grow. And that means Dion and Shedeur. So I think you know me, I like to make sure that hey, clearly there's a bias there. Clearly Ocho like Shedeur, but there's still some truth in what he's saying, right? Like I don't like when we have these conversations, like, and people come in and say, like, oh my God, Shedeur's not QB1, he's not QB1, he's not that. I haven't said he's QB1. I don't know who. You better take that somewhere else. But if you're telling me that Shedeur Sanders can't beat out Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel, I just don't know if you haven't watched football forever. I'm not saying
Thank you, bro. I don't know if y'all been watching football. Of course, okay, Joe, this is how it's supposed to go, and this is how everybody is thinking it was going to go. Well, you have this quarterback battle between Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. Unfortunate, the other two got hurt. Shedeur Sanders is playing well in camp, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, 70% completion rate. You looking like, okay, we got us a nice young quarterback. Joe's going to be the starter. We'll go ahead and move Shedeur to the second spot to back up. Dillon and Kenny Pickett can fight it out to, who's going to be the third, and then whoever's not the third, they got to get cut. I'm pretty sure they'd rather cut. I don't know who they'd rather cut, but somebody. This is the tough decisions that you have to make within an organization. But you got to go with what they're showing you, though. They're going based off who was the free agent, who got drafted in the 3rd round or the 5th round, who's the better talent, who gives you the best chance to win. They don't care about winning. This is the season. They don't care about it. Their quarterback, they're focused on who's coming out next year. That's why it's all around. That's why it's so messed up. That's why it's all over the place. And we, as logical people, football fans, are looking at it like, you're looking at it like, okay, these are the players we have this year. Let's put the best team on the field so we can win some games. That's how most of us is looking at it. So when you're looking at it and they not doing the things that you would think they would do based on the results you're getting from this training camp, that's telling you everything you need to know. Why they're signing, why they signed Tyler Huntley and all this crazy stuff, bro. Like I said, bro, I'm not even a Cleveland Browns fan. I'm a cover the NFL. I'm covering everything. But at the same time, it's like I'm a Shedeur fan. So it's like, bruh, come on, bro. At minimum, he's the backup for sure, 100%. And if Joe Flacco does, I give it to 0-4, 0-5. We want to see what the youngin got. I don't want to see Kenny Pickett, to be honest. I wouldn't want to see him if I'm a Browns fan. I don't want to see Dillon Gabriel for real if I'm a Browns fan. I want to see this young man. Because he's 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, 70% completion rate in training camp. Yeah, I want to see that on the field with the ones. I want to see how that look.
He's the number 1 guy. I'm not saying he's going to lead him to a Super Bowl, but this isn't Shedeur Sanders versus Trevor Lawrence, which I think, okay, that could be a struggle. Trevor Lawrence is a all-world talent, XYZ, one of the highest rated coming out of both high school and college.
Yeah, sure.
Right? He's had some great moments, but, big contract still has some things to live up to. Okay. I can see why you think, hey, don't you have a chance? He's not competing against a top 15 quarterback. Guys, he's not. I don't even think he's competing against a top 20 quarterback in the NFL.
This is a 40-something-year-old Joe Flacco. Totality,
all of them, the whole quarterback room, including Tyler Huntley. So it would be a complete different thing if we were like, well, why isn't he starting over Drake May? Nobody's saying that. We're saying Tyler Huntley, a 7-year-old Joe Flacco, Kenny Small Hands Pickett, who apparently can't stay healthy, and Dillon Gabriel, who people are starting to I've been seeing
with the height shit, bro. With the height shit, and it's crazy. Like for you, that's what I'm saying. For you to be, I don't know his height. I don't know if it's like 5'10", 5'11". For you to be that short, the only people you can look at is Russell Wilson and Drew Brees. If you don't have that type of talent, I don't know what to tell you.
Twitter, people are like drawing lines. It's like, he can't be 5'11". Shedeur Sanders is like 3 inches taller than him. So I'm not saying that to make fun of Dylan Gabriel. I'm saying that for as much as the beginning of this process was, well, Shedeur doesn't have a chance. Now people are cracking. Browns fans are cracking. Browns fans are asking for Shedeur to get reps. We're in the Matrix now. I want y'all to know it's no longer just a weird light-skinned dude yelling into a mic about Shedeur Sanders. There is a contingent. There is not just AI accounts, not just Magdog TV, shout out Magdog TV, not just John the Liquidator, no shout out, not just the TS42. There's a bunch of channels that do some great stuff. Not just Buffed in Prime, not just us beating the drum on Twitter, Stampede, Dalvin the Truth, Goose on Twitter. It's not just that. These are Browns fans, NFL media, Browns media, and they're sitting here like, hey, Dylan Gabriel can't play.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I'm not even a Browns fan. I'm a Chiefs fan, but I love football, bro. I love sports, and I know football. I know football like the back of my hand. So it's just like, to see what they doing, bro. It's evident. It's evident, bro. I don't know how loud the fans and the media gotta get for them to do what they supposed to do. But obviously you can see that the conspiracy against Shedeur Sanders, and I do believe it was one. And the only way for him to beat that is to put out good tape. To put out good tape. That's the only way to make them look like they was fools. It's put out good tape, put out good tape, put out good tape, put out, because he gonna find himself, he gonna end up with a good organization, and he might win them a Super Bowl. Or he might take them to the playoffs. Or he might take them to an NFC championship game or an AFC championship game. Within his career. I'm not saying right now, within his career. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just, like, the way the Browns just rub me the wrong way, bro. Like, even to ownership, like, what's going on, especially what's going on with these 32 owners, bro. Like, y'all be having some spiteful ways, and it's sad to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially definitely, like, we thought that, you know, he definitely can't get past Pittsburgh. I know that's what everybody was saying. Like, he can't get, Mike Tomlin ain't gonna let him, you know, because they needed a quarterback. He not gonna get past the Saints. Ain't no way. The Saints ain't have nobody. Nobody. They got to go back to, bro, they had quarterback from last year. That was garbage. Spencer Rattler. So come on, bro.